Well, good morning, seven-figure agency members. It is September the 2nd. It's a brand new month. August is over. And as I do, I wanted to kind of check in with you, kind of ask, how was August? Did you hit your targets? Did you hit your goals? And do you have a clear plan for September? This 2018 year is coming rapidly to a close. We started the year with our 2018 agency growth plan. All of you guys set targets. You set clear objectives in terms of where you wanted to end the year with recurring clients, recurring monthly revenue, and really a business model that's growing and sustaining you. And we broke that down into quarterly goals and into monthly goals. And so I want to check in and really get you to take a couple minutes to refocus on August, reflect, how did you do? Did you hit your targets? Did you not? And then more importantly, reset and refresh going into September to make sure you hit the ground running and you really crush it throughout the rest of this month. So what I want to do now is just kind of ask you a couple questions and kind of take you through a thought process that I think will help. And I see Mike's on with me, Jeff is on with me, Josh is on with me. Thanks for joining me live. And if you've got a scratch pad, now would be the time. This is something that I just want you to spend a couple minutes thinking about and working on. The first question is, did you hit your goal for August? It's one thing to set a goal. It's a whole nother thing to stop and reflect. And so ideally, you put this down into the sales and retention tracking sheet. And it's easy just to go in and say, okay, I had a goal of 3 new clients and I sold 1, or I sold 3, or I sold 5. And so did you hit that goal? And also, how many new clients did you bring on? How much recurring revenue does that represent? And this is a closed group. It's only for 7-figure agency members. So I'd love to have you post in the comments, I hit my goal, I didn't hit my goal. Let me know what's going on within your business. And then more important than that, and then that stuff's important, but the other question is, did you do the necessary activity to accomplish the goal? So there's a lot of things you could do to generate that necessary activity. Jeff on the weekly coaching calls, Alan has always expressed it's important to have move forward conversations. So the target is 3 move forward conversations per day. Reaching out to people, saying, reaching out to people within your niche. Hey, I'd love to chat with you about your internet marketing. Is that something you'd be open to? Or, hey, I've developed this report on how to get your internet marketing right. I'd like to send it to you. Or, hey, I'd like to do an analysis of your online marketing strategy. Is that something you'd be open to looking at? And really just making the necessary calls to generate 3 people that kind of nod their heads, say, yeah, absolutely, why don't you send that over? If you have 3 move forward conversations every single day, that works out to 15 interested parties on a weekly basis, which should generate the ultimate activity we want, which is strategy sessions, people open to what we have to sell, which then results in proposals submitted, which ultimately results in a closed business, which is what we want on the actual result, but it's the KPIs, the key performance indicators that actually move that. So did you do your move forward conversations? Did you conduct any webinars, right? I give you guys all of these great webinars, swipe and deploy, the emails to send out, the presentation files. I'll unpacked how you can conduct a webinar that really doesn't matter and generate pre-scheduled, pre-qualified opportunities. So did you do a webinar? Did you do a webinar every month? Did you do at least one for the quarter? If not, this is maybe a reason you didn't hit the target and you're not getting the momentum that you want. And how many new pieces of value-add content did you roll out? Did you send out a cheat sheet? Did you create a video explaining some technique or some strategy? Did you put out any content to your database? So, these are just some things I want you to reflect on. Did you hit your goal? Did you not? If you did, take a minute to celebrate and kind of pat yourself on the shoulder, put that out in the group and let us cheer you along. If you didn't, then what activity did you fail to accomplish? The chances are you didn't do one of these 3 things, which if you had would have made all the difference in terms of the success of the quarter. So really, would love to hear from you guys on the comments there. The quarter is coming to an end. You have 1 month left. So what I really want you to do now is shift your focus to September. You got a whole month ahead of you to finish this quarter, to really crush this quarter and knock it out of the park. And so you've got a new opportunity to update your sales and retention tracking sheet, to update your goal in terms of new client growth and base recurring revenue. So what I want to hear from you in the comments on this is, for September, how many clients will you sell? how many strategy sessions are you going to have to conduct in order to make that a reality? And what will your base monthly recurring revenue be at the end of the month, right? Which is really the end of the quarter, which is the third quarter of the year. We're more than 1/3 of the way, or 3/4 of the way through the year. And so same thing, only now instead of looking retroactively, looking proactively through the month of September, you can change your activity, which will change the result. So the question is, how many move forward conversations will you commit to? Like literally, how many will you do? If the answer is 0, but you set for yourself a target of 4 new clients, there's a disconnect there. There has to be activity to drive the result. What webinars will you conduct? And I'd love for you guys to conduct one webinar in September, at least one, and it could be on any of the topics you have in the Swipe and Deploy in the members area, or just come up with a webinar that you think would be relevant. Promise you, if you've got your database, which is fundamental, you should all have a database of prospects, and you put out a webinar, whether it's a great webinar or not, just putting out the content will create momentum for you, because you can move people straight from the promotion of the webinar to an offer for a strategy session, and then take that content and put it up on YouTube and send out the replay, and it creates content, it creates momentum, it creates raised hands. How many, and what I want you to do is, right now, now's the time, right? What webinar are you going to conduct in September? What date are you going to do it? And put it on your calendar right now. There's 2 different types of learning that you do: just-in-case learning and just-in-time learning. So a lot of people do just-in-case learning. So they'll study webinars, or they'll dive into the membership area and kind of look at my webinars to get a sense of what it's about. And they're just doing just in case. One day I might do a webinar, so I'd like to know how this works, and I'd like to look at these files and get things done. And just in case learning is it's okay, but it really doesn't move you forward. The different learning is just in time learning. So I've got a webinar on Friday that's scheduled. Now I need to figure out what emails I'm going to send. I need to figure out what I'm going to say on the webinar. I need to figure out how to set up my presentation file. And just-in-time learning is really what moves you forward. It gets the activity going. So what I want you to do is schedule your September webinar, and ideally sometime in the next 2 weeks. So either before the 7th or before the 14th, put it on your calendar right now. Commit to the title, and it could be how to set up your website for conversion. It could be how to optimize for search engines and getting ranked on page 1, how to generate online reviews, how to leverage social media to generate interest. Just come up with your topic and put it on the calendar. And then what I want you to do is roll up your sleeves and do just-in-time learning, right? Figure out what emails you're going to send, figure out how to set up your landing page, figure out how to get the emails promoting the webinar out, and then show up and conduct your webinar. So do that right now, no time like the present, and force yourself into some just-in-time learning. And remember, all of the resources are in the members area. So you don't even have to create the file or create the emails. If you don't want to, just go into the members area, grab it, modify it for your needs, and deploy. The other one is, how many pieces of new content will you roll out? So I want you to do one webinar. I want you to roll out at least one piece of new content. It could be the list of the most commonly searched keywords in your market. It could be a cheat sheet on how to optimize your website for conversion. It could be a case study. Hey, this is what I did for one company in my niche. I want you to commit to one piece of content that you can send out. And then put that on the schedule right now. So write down, this is the content that I'm going to roll out, and this is the date that I'm going to do it. Again, forcing yourself into just-in-time learning, right? This is the last month of the quarter. You have goals, you have targets, and you need to do the activity that's going to make it a reality. And then my last question is, how many emails will you roll out to your database? So again, you've got a database of people within your niche, and it's sitting in ActiveCampaign or Aweber or Constant Contact or something. If not, go back to phase 1. This is the very first thing you should do, is have a list, have a niche, and then start nurturing that list through email, through webinars, through direct outreach, through direct mail. So you have that. You should be emailing them at least once a week. So what will you send in your email? So just come up with a subject line, come up with some basic content, and commit to one email per week. So whether it's every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, pick a day that you will send these email broadcasts out. I believe if you do these 4 fundamental things, you will start to move your agency forward. So really what I'm talking about is make your move forward conversations, right? You're cold calling, you're sending cold emails, and you're offering something, and you're looking for 3 people a day that will nod their head and say yes. You're going to do one webinar that's in the members area, swipe and deploy. Whether 0 people show up or not, that creates momentum for you. It creates interest. It creates content that you can then upload. One new piece of content that you're going to roll out, you have 30 days to pull this off. That's a cheat sheet, or it's a list or something along those lines. And then at least 1 email per week to your database of information that's relevant and interesting. Again, all 4 of these things have a cumulative effect that will create more interest, more pre-scheduled appointments that you don't have to chase quite as hard for, which ultimately leads to more sessions, more proposals, and more sales. So love to hear from you guys in the comments. Again, how was August? What are your targets for September? And what activities will you commit to really crush this month of September and close the quarter down strong? So thanks for joining me on this quick Facebook Live. Would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know, and I'll talk to you again soon.